So, the recent Chinese spy balloon scare has attracted a lot of attention from mainly US citizens as well as Congress, who seem to be concerned about the strength and advancement of China's satellite and intelligence programs. Now, satellites have an impact on every aspect of daily life in America, including transportation, power, banking, communications, the ability to follow breaking news, and most importantly, security. Because of this space based technology, the United States is also able to project power, gather intelligence, and maintain security. However, as China continues to grow as a major space power, the United States' ability to fight wars and counter space threats will be put to the test in what is apparently an assertive and determined effort to not only undercut US global leadership in space, but also to possibly prepare the foundation for future confrontation or war. China continues to aggressively seek ways to expand its space capabilities, posing a serious challenge to United States' space dominance. It is a challenge that aims to outmaneuver the US defense system both by pursuing the non-weaponization of current space agreements as well as by continuing to build, test, and deploy advanced space assets. China demonstrates mastery in electronic warfare designed to prevent US space based communications, GPS navigation, and the deployment of precision guided weapons. China is reportedly creating jammers that are intended to target US military surveillance platforms and disrupt communications, according to some recent reports from the Defense Intelligence Agency. China's offensive cyberspace abilities are another area of concern. General David Thompson of the US Space Force claimed China was regularly jamming radio frequencies and attacking American satellites with digital attacks in an interview with the Eurasian Times in April of 2022. Furthermore, China has developed a new cybersecurity system capable of detecting satellite flaws, which makes it easier to hack and destroy them. Now, with this power, China could easily use cyber attacks to hinder the ability of the United States military to organize and conduct surveillance and recon during the early stages of a conflict. In addition to its hacking and jamming activities, China also pursues the development of anti satellite missile systems intended for use against American low Earth orbit satellites, as well as directed energy weapons designed to damage and destroy satellites and satellite sensors. Now, the development of anti satellite technology and energy weapons pose a threat to American national security and its military operations, as the United States heavily relies on satellites for their critical functions. Such aggressive actions by China escalate the ongoing quote unquote space race and also increase the likelihood of military conflict in space. Now, there are worries that China may actually have connections to American space contractors as well, particularly Elon Musk's SpaceX, which would only increase its satellite capabilities. Now, everyone knows how advanced Starlink is, and that is an expansion of SpaceX. Several senators are worried that China could gain access to classified information through foreign suppliers, which may have ties to Beijing. And this is according to a Business Insider report. This fact might pose the greatest threat to the American space program since it has the potential to suddenly interrupt the progress and overall success of important space missions. It isn't surprising that there has been a political call to action from the US to reduce this risk, given that China's behavior in the field of space warfare is intended to endanger American national security operations, as shown by Senator Marco Rubio's most recent proposed legislation, the Transaction and Sourcing Knowledge Act, This legislation was presented to the Senate in April of 2022 by Rubio, the vice chairman of the Select Committee on Intelligence. And if passed, the law will require that publicly traded firms disclose not only any connections in their supply chains that lead to China, but also any transactions that could endanger American national security. To confront the Chinese Communist Party's space program, Senator Rubio also put out the Space Protection of American Command and Enterprise Act. And this was back in December of 2021, which addresses China's ongoing effort to replace the United States as the global leader of the space industry. But still, the Task Act and Space Act are only two countermeasures. Now, will that be sufficient enough to prevent China from gaining a military advantage in space? Well, the answer is most likely not, due to China's history of preparing for potential confrontation with the United States. The U.S. Space Force must continue to be developed at a high level in order to protect American interests in space and ultimately the American people. But it appears that the U.S. is already lagging behind China, or so the media reports. So, in conclusion, China's recent spy balloon shenanigans once again raised concern over their aggressive pursuit of advanced space capabilities, including anti satellite missile systems and directed energy weapons, which pose a serious threat to American national security and its military operations. China's mastery of electronic warfare, offensive cyberspace abilities, and potential access to American space contractors also exacerbate the ongoing space race and increase the likelihood of a potential military conflict in space. While recent legislative efforts aim to address these concerns, it still remains to be seen whether they will be sufficient to prevent China from gaining any sort of military advantage. As such, it is imperative for the United States to continue developing its space capabilities in order to protect America's interests in space, as well as maintain its position as a global leader in space exploration and security. Now, I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope you did take something away from this. Maybe learn something new that you didn't know prior to listening to this. I appreciate it if you could leave me a like on the video if you did enjoy. Also, consider subscribing for more videos just like this one.